Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
The Abercrombie Kids Summer Sale is in full swing, with up to 50% off select styles for the season. Summer plans, vacation, and camp days are all covered, with new dresses, shorts, tees, and swim. Abercrombie Kids has the summer staples they need and the looks that they want to wear. Shop in-store, online, or in the app. Offer applies to select styles as indicated. Discount applied at checkout online.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
We're gonna build a podcast, okay? It's gonna be a great podcast. People are talking about this podcast. People are talking about it. It's a great, it's a wonderful.
Preston, I'm gonna stop you right there, okay?
Yeah, thanks. I probably shouldn't have done
yeah.
that. You know, no person who does impressions really can resist trying that, at least.
I mean,
yeah, mine is obviously a very grotesque, cartoon-esque version of it, but you know, the weird thing is I found a window in through another controversial figure, Bill Cosby, and then you mix it with a little Mumford.
What?
And there you go. It's like,
you see, you got to take, and then you take it down, and you mix it with a little Mumford, and there you go.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, got that out of my system.
Oh, God. I don't know if I can erase that. Anyway, enjoy the podcast, everybody. About, you guessed it, controversy. Or more specifically, using controversy in your artwork. Enjoy yourselves, or go fuck yourselves. Up, controversy. See what I did there?
No voices, impersonations, or approximations are endorsed by the Living Artist Podcast or its creator. All representations are done for comedic effect and comedic effect only. This endeth the disclaimer.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, not really much to be said about the intro. We'll just leave it at that. But we are going to be talking about controversy, and what better way to do that than with those two voices and references. Yes, controversy. It is a thing. It is a major thing. It's a major. Okay. I got to stop myself. It's a big thing in our world nowadays. And yes, it is a big thing in the art world. And a lot of artists have become famous using controversy, whether they meant to or not. I mean, I just think of a few off the top of my head, like Marcel Duchamp's The Fountain, which is basically a toilet sculpture, or nude descending a staircase. You know, a lot of Marina Abramovic stuff is in there. For example, the one we talked about, there's Rhythm, I think it's called Rhythm Zero, or the one where she sat there and just engaged with people, where they would come and they would sit and stare at her, and there really wasn't anything else. She was her own installation. Or you got Judy Chicago, The Dinner Party, which is like basically famous women's vulvas on plates at a dinner party. Hey, I'm not making this up. This is real stuff. A lot of things like that, or, you know, even more recently, Ai Weiwei. He did like smashing of like Han Dynasty urns and things like that. There's a lot of stuff like that in the art world. Obviously, Banksy is very well known for a lot of controversial stuff that he's done. I will reserve my opinions on that. But, you know, some people use it very well. Some people use it by mistake. Some people have gotten famous from, you know, controversial works of art or statements that they've made through their art. by mistake or on purpose. And we're just going to talk a little bit today about using controversy in your work. Should you use controversy in your work? Should you become a controversial artist? Is this really a way in to becoming famous or a well-known, recognized artist, and all the things that go along with that? So let's get started right now. I guess we can start with myself just to, set the stage. Do I use controversy in my art? And the short answer is really yes and no. I don't try to really just become an over-the-top controversial artist. I have incorporated, current events and things like that, like the Kim Kardashian thing in my work and its evolution, baby. Or I've done some sexual exploration, ambiguous stuff from my past. I have done some very personal things where I said, like waking up in an alleyway in Hollywood, for example, some stuff that's just over the top, on the head, very brutally honest, or penance. Some pieces that I've done in the past that have been extremely honest about myself, and I guess in that sense could be seen as controversial, but really I like to think of that more as just being honest, an honest expression of how I feel about some things that have happened in my life or current events that I might be, looking at and questioning or thinking about, is this really something that I want to focus on or, make a statement about, or even just have an open dialogue about. That's something that I really have chosen to focus on. I don't really sit there and think about things of like, how can I be the most controversial? How can I splatter blood, like my own blood on a canvas? Or, there's been artists who've used, bugs and semen and all this stuff in their work. Sorry, trigger warning. I should have said that ahead of time. But that's happened throughout history. There's been people who've, had their work. They've talked about, wars or current wars like Picasso, there's Guernica, obviously. But there's a lot of very important and powerful works that have been done in wartime from people who've actually been in that, climate at the time, in the war zone, direct from the war zone. And some of those have become very powerful paintings. I don't know if I would say controversial as much as brave and honest with a lot of those. So, some of these things can take on a controversial tone based on who's looking at it and based on the context and the time period. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going, I'm going to just, I'm going to make something controversial. No, it's more like I'm going to make a statement about what's happening and shine a light on it. And it becomes one of those art imitates life things. Now, whether or not you choose to use controversy in a more in-your-face, over-the-top way, that's up to you. I know Banksy likes to make a lot of statements like that, like, putting his stuff over other works of art, for example, or, people who've done street art that deface public property without getting the okay from the city, stuff like that. And that has its place. I think it's all very powerful, done in a correct way. I'm not advocating anybody doing that. Like, do what you want. Like, I've always found stuff on the streets and used it in my work and things like that. I've had some controversial times in my own life with stuff that I've done, but, none of that was really done with, in a premeditated way of like, I'm going to be controversial so people will then take notice of me. But you can do this in a way, if it's done in a way that's thoughtful, I think, or in the right context or tasteful, or something that, really is done for a purpose, which is, bringing a spotlight to an issue that needs more dialogue, certain things with sexuality nowadays, gender roles, obviously politics, look back to the beginning of this podcast, politics, political figures, controversial things that are, passed, or bills that are passed, or legislation that's passed that is affecting people in a negative way. All of those things, I think, are the artist's job in a way. It doesn't mean that everybody has to comment on them, but artists in general, as a collective, I do think that it is our duty to explore those ideas and put them out there, almost to document what's going on in this time period as almost like a time capsule, but also to shed some light on it, to open a dialogue about it, to maybe give people a different perspective that they haven't seen or thought about on a certain subject. I think that's very powerful, and I think that's something that is necessary for us to be doing as artists. In that sense, controversy has a very strong place in art and art history. Now, we can all argue about what is controversy and what is not controversy, and the varying degrees of controversy and what's acceptable and what's just kind of over the top, doing things for shock value. I tend to stay away from stuff that is just shock value for shock value's sake, because I just think that's always rung a little untrue to me, because you look at it and you just see that there's nothing behind it. There's no depth behind it. There's really only a desire or a need to get exposure, or to, have some, articles written about you, or to come on the scene fast. If you don't have anything to back that up, you're going to fall flat on your face at some point as an artist. So I think shock value with a purpose, shock value with a statement or a context behind it can work, but shock value just for shock value's sake, or controversy just for controversy's sake, I don't tend to like that much. There's probably a couple examples I can find, outliers for anything where I'm like, yeah, that actually worked. But just, in general, that's the way I tend to view controversy and shock value in art. But I do love work that has a controversial overtones or undertones, that is making a statement, something that's documenting something that's happening and bringing awareness to something and making you think. I love that. I absolutely love that. So kind of a tasteful controversy is something that I tend to gravitate towards or like in art. I'll give you another very strong example or set of examples here just to drive this point home and to bring it into like the context of what's happening now in the cultural zeitgeist, if you will, everybody. And that is a lot of these scam documentaries or, murder documentaries, or like these social media or cult documentaries, all these figures that are doing these outlandish things or taking advantage of people. And, the thing is we are all very obsessed with this in our culture nowadays. We are drawn to them. I am too. My wife and I, we just watched Scamanda the other day, and we watched some other ones about like love and romance scams where people get.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Paradise is back.
It's finally here.
In a new location, Costa Rica. There will be adventure, drama, and romance.
All gas, no brakes. That's my vibe.
Ready to find some love.
But it wouldn't be paradise without surprises along the way.
These kids need to learn.
That's right. Your favorite Golden alums are crashing the beach.
We bring in a party, baby.
Bachelor in Paradise. New Mondays at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Scammed out of a bunch of money. And they're very interesting and intriguing, just like the cult documentaries are for me too. They're intriguing, they're interesting, they show a part of humanity that we're all very interested in, and it, exposes how we all can be vulnerable to certain things, right? But the thing about it that fits in with what we're talking about today is there's this element now of, these people doing all this horrible things to people, wrongdoing, the evildoers, okay, doing all this horrible stuff to people. And, they eventually inevitably get caught and they spend time in jail, or they pay these fines, or both, or they get locked up for the rest of their lives, even sometimes. But many times it's like they spend some time in jail. There's all these documentaries done about them. But the funny thing is, and I was talking to my wife about this, a lot of these people now come out of prison or even in prison and they've got a book deal, or they've got like a documentary deal, and all these people want to put this, spotlight on their story. And, these people end up coming out of it with money. They make money off of their story, and they make money off of the pain that they've caused other people. And I think that's really wrong and weird. It's just a weird phenomenon that we have, and we all kind of play a part in making this possible by being interested in it. And I'm not saying don't watch them, because I'm intrigued by them too, but it's just something that is happening now. It's almost like people taking advantage of an unfortunate event, or premeditatedly having a controversy and then, making money off of it at the beginning, and then, okay, they pay their dues for a little while and then they come out of it and they make money again on the tail end of it by having like a book deal, or, like I said, a documentary deal or a movie deal or whatever. They sell their rights to these companies and they make a lot of money off of it. And it's just so interesting, because it's like like these people are obviously more interested in either the immediate gratification or that end result of becoming famous no matter what, right? And I think that for me has always rung very untrue, and it's, I don't know, it just gives me a gross feeling. So I always recommend doing things for the sake. I'm not saying that artists are like that. I was just giving an example in the culture right now that, you know, that takes this a step further. But I would just say, if you're an artist and you're looking to do controversy, if you're looking to make a statement that is controversial, I would just say make sure it's rooted in something real, whether that's your own experience, a group of people's experience, something that's going on in the world now, or something, some sort of idea or perspective that you think needs to have some light shined on it, like an idea that needs to have some light shined on it, something that you really want to bring to people's attention that maybe people aren't talking enough about, then that is coming from the right context. But just going like, I'm going to go out and do defecation art on the freeway. Oh man, I'm sure somebody out there in the world has done this at some point. But you know what I'm saying? Don't just do something to get eyeballs or to get, an article written about you or to get on the news, to fast track your name to get out there, because that will end up fizzling out or exploding in your face at some point. Let's work on the long game, as always, bringing controversy into our art in a tasteful way when it is necessary and when it can make an impact on society. And then I think we're doing it for the right reasons. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. Just thought we'd talk about a little controversy. We all need a little controversy from time to time because it feels so empty without me. That's another person who did that really well. Eminem, Slim Shady, knew how to do the controversy in a way that was very artistic and rang true, and people ate it up. So just going to leave you with that at the end. Hope everybody's doing well out there. And yeah, thanks for listening as always. Looking forward to bringing you another episode in the near future. Take care of yourselves. Take care of everybody else out there. And we'll see you next time on the next episode.
I'm going to leave you with this, and I promise you I'll be done. You see, out there you use the speech pattern to do the mumbo-jumbo. Oh, man. Are we going to get some hate mail? I just want to say, I had absolutely no part in the preconception of any of these impersonations or ideas. Don't believe me? Listen to the announcer man.
All ideas were written and perpetrated by Mumford, and Mumford alone. This podcast is copyright Mumford 2025, Mumford Incorporated.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I guess we do all need a little controversy, because it would feel so empty without me. So long, suckers.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.